one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor Marsh, for that prayer. It's very timely with Veterans Day coming up. At this time, I know we have a number of supervisors who have served in our armed forces. I'd like to invite you to stand and be recognized. So if you served in our armed forces, we just want to thank you for the service you've given our country and for the service that you continue to give to our county and to our communities. Thank you. All right, roll call is going around. It looks like we do have a quorum. First item of action would be to approve the minutes from our last meeting. I see a motion by Supervisor Benke, second by Supervisor Engelbrecht. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And the minutes are approved. First, we have a proclamation, the county executive and I, recognizing Manitowoc County America Recycles Day 2023. So, Mr. Schley, if you'd like to meet me up at the podium. A proclamation recognizing Manitowoc County America Recycles Day 2023 on November 15th. Whereas Manitowoc County residents generate more than 32,000 tons of solid waste per year, and this solid waste is buried at a local landfill site. And whereas Manitowoc County residents annually recycle or compost more than 17,000 tons of material through various collections programs. And whereas the Manitowoc County Recycling Facility is the most utilized municipal recycling program in Manitowoc County, serving all county residents and having helped reduce the volume of solid waste going into the landfill site from 58,000 tons per year in the early 90s before the existing recycling program to the present yearly tonnage of about 32,000 tons. And whereas recycling saves precious energy, conserves valuable natural resources, protects the environment, reduces landfill needs, and has a positive economic impact. And whereas Manitowoc County residents can do more to reduce and recycle through education and participation. And whereas waste reduction and the purchase of recycled content products are critically important elements of an environmentally responsible waste management program. And whereas America Recycles Day is a national promotion to help raise awareness and to provide education about recycling, reducing recycling contamination, and buying recycled products. And now therefore, I, Bob Ziegelbauer, County Executive, and Tyler Martell, County Board Chairperson, proclaim Tuesday, November 15th, 2023, as America Recycles Day 2023 in Manitowoc County.
On behalf of the Send Services, we very much appreciate this proclamation. If you're unaware why Ascend Services is speaking at this time, it's because Ascend, formerly known as Holiday House, has been providing recycling services for 50 years in our community, and we have been under contract and developed a great partnership with the county for 32 of those years. This contract partnership aligns with our mission of promoting individual growth through community experiences, education, and employment opportunities for our developmentally disabled clients. And we say thank you very much to the county for this partnership that has provided job opportunities to 16 staff and 15 clients. Thank you very much.
Okay, that will take us into public comment. Are there any members of the public looking to speak tonight? Are there any members of the public looking to speak? Yes, Ms. Yost.
Good evening, Chip Yo, Centerville. Quick PSA, adults without health insurance or those whose insurance does not cover all COVID-19 vaccine costs can get free COVID vaccine from the CDC's Bridge Access Program. This summer, Act 12 became law, and it is a game changer. Governor Evers and legislative leaders negotiated to reach a compromise on the shared revenue that includes at least a 20% increase in support to most municipalities statewide and ties local government funding to the state sales tax going forward, allowing for growth in the future. This year, our county and its communities received enhanced revenues from the state of $15.4 million. Act 12 is a game changer because it is a law aiming to decrease the burden on property taxpayers by increasing sales tax revenues like a, quote, a half cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax that now offers lower property taxes. According to the Tax Foundation, the state's general sales tax averages 5.3% and is the 8th lowest in the nation. Manitowoc County is located along I-43 corridor, which stretches from Kenosha in the excuse me, Kenosha in the south to Dorr in the north. In 2022, the Wisconsin Department of Tourism reported that direct visitor spending in Manitowoc County was $127 million, and total labor income was $56 million. Manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism are the three pillars of Wisconsin's economy, and tourism is expanding along the I-43 corridor. In the past week alone, it was announced that $21.6 million will be invested in tourist attractions along the corridor in Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Door County, supporting 400 jobs and $68 million in economic activity. Green Bay, of course, is in Door County. Anyway, events like the 2025 NFL draft are projected to bring 250,000 football fans, many traveling along the corridor for the 3-day event. I'll risk speaking to the choir here by restating that funds from, quote, a county sales tax may be budgeted by the county board to defray the cost of any budget item which can be funded by a county-wide property tax. Please notice that the decision makers are the county board. On June 20th, Act 12 was announced. Less than a month later, on July 18th, you County Board Supervisors passed a resolution on the courthouse.
You have about 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. Quote, with the project to be funded by long-term borrowing. Supervisors who voted against the resolution form a nucleus of support to reconsider implementing a half cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax to increase county revenue while reducing property taxes for their constituents. Our county and local communities are already seeing the financial benefit from Act 12. So as I've said so many times before, I continue to advocate for a half cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax as the borrower is slave to the lender, Proverbs 22:17. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public looking to speak? Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak? And for a third and final time, I'll close public input. That will take us into appointments by the county executive. Our first appointments are for the Expo Ice Center Board to reappoint 6 members. I'd look for a motion to approve those. Motion by Supervisor Benke, second by Supervisor Heller. Any discussion on the appointments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the appointments are approved. Next, we have an appointment for the Human Services Board. That appointment is on the agenda. I'd be looking for a motion. Supervisor Bry, second by Supervisor Niles. Any discussion on the appointment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the appointment's approved. Lastly, we have an appointment for the Veteran Services Commission. The appointee is on the agenda. Motion by Supervisor Mink, second by Supervisor Heller. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the appointment's approved. That will take us into our committee reports. We'll start with Planning and Park Commission, Supervisor Falkowski.
Primarily a announcement, the Park and Planning Commission's next meeting is Monday, December 4th at 4 p.m.
Thank you. Aging and Disability Board, Supervisor Wagner.
No report.
Thank you. Board of Health, Supervisor Metzger.
We'll be meeting November 9th at 5 p.m. at the Health Department. Otherwise, I have no report.
Thank you. Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Supervisor Falkowski.
Another announcement, the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council is scheduled for Monday, January 3rd.
Executive Committee, I have nothing to report. Expo Ice Center Board, Supervisor Benke.
We met last week. The committee is working on a lot of different things such as rules and you think that the fair only happens, but we're already working on next year. So there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. We meet on December 6th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance met last night, and before we get into the heavy stuff, we took ownership of some tax delinquent properties, and because of the change in state law that now says we can't keep any more money than our expenses on those properties when we sell them, we're going to a new process of putting value on those pieces of property that we now own. So what we are doing is any bid that will reach those expenses that we have will be considered as somebody who might be buying that property. Now, the hope is that those properties will be a little more competitive. It's a competitive market right now, but again, we can't keep any of that extra money anyway, so we might as well do this differently. So the bids on those properties will be wherever our cost is over the years of taking care of them. And we'll see how that works. That'll start in a couple of weeks. There'll be bids on those properties. Okay, to the big issues. Our first resolution is for adopting the 24 budget. And Mr. Chairman, I so move for that adoption.
There's a motion to adopt the budget, a second by Supervisor Bry. Any discussion on the resolution?
To that resolution to adopt the budget, I'd like to thank Supervisor Bry and yourself, Mr. Chairman, and Supervisor Phipps for questions they had last night at the budget. We had no public input, as we had no public input the week before at our general meeting for the public. So this is a pretty solid budget. It's well done, small deduction in taxes. If we had a concern or heard a concern, one of the concerns brought up was with the increase in health insurance costs to the county employees. And I had spoken with Ms. Eisenschenk before the meeting and got the same response when the question was brought up by Supervisor Bry from the executive, that There is an increase this year. It is far less than the 30% that was suggested by the broker when they came in. I believe it's around 10, if my memory serves me correctly. So that puts us about in the middle for other public agencies on what they are charging their workers for health insurance. So it's never good, I guess, to have to pay more, but it's the reality of where we live right now. If there's a weakness in that process, the county workers that contacted some of us about that increase didn't feel like they were given a heads up it was going to happen. So maybe the communication in the future can explain that, why it happened to them rather than not getting that information. But those things happen. Overall, it's a solid budget. It was done well. The executive, give credit to Mr. Ziegelbauer for putting this together. And if you have any other questions or concerns, express them now.
Is there anybody else looking to speak? Okay, seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution adopting the 2024 budget and property levy. And the resolution is approved.
Your vote, your approval on the budget for next year. We have two other resolutions. Both of these have to do with claims against the county for stones hitting the side of a car when people are cutting grass or working on the road. And as we've done in the past, we do everything we can to safely cut grass to make sure these things don't happen. Claims are put against the county and it's turned over to insurance to fight it out. So we are denying both of these claims. And I suppose we take them one at a time. And so I will bring the first one to deny claims to Ms. Weinberg on her claim against the county. I so move.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Bry. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution denying the claim for Deborah Weinberg.
And the resolution is approved.
Resolution would be the same type of claim against the county, and I move that we deny the claim for Ms. Vander Zanden.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Shimalunas. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution denying the claim for Luann Vander Zanden.
And the resolution is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a word to the board. I appreciate your support during this budget process. And as I said, it's a solid budget, so we're good for 2024. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Hanson. Next, we'll go to the Highway Committee, Supervisor Benke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did not meet prior to tonight, but we will meet next week, Tuesday, November 14th at 4 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Human Services Board, Supervisor Bry.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Conservation Committee and UW Extension and Agricultural Committee, Supervisor Wagner.
No report for either committee.
Thank you. Personnel Committee, Supervisor Marsh.
Thank you. We met before the meeting tonight and approved vacation reinstatement for an employee and also discussed allowance that was submitted after the 60-day deadline. And we went over the recruitment and process for the Sheriff's Department, and everything is looking.
Supervisor Falkowski, Public Works Committee, Supervisor Droll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 4:30. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Transportation Coordinating Committee, Supervisor Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No report.
Thank you. That'll take us to announcements. Just want to remind everybody of our next meeting on December 19th. That'll be our last meeting of the year. Supervisor Mink?
I know if you want to support White Law Wrestling Club, I do got some tasty candy bars here, $2 a piece. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Mink. I also just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hard to believe we're already at that point of the year, but we will see you in December. I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by